He is 99 years old and still dancing, not in memory, not on archival footage, but alive, present, moving, breathing, performing joy in a world that has buried most of the people who shaped him. Generations have passed, and the genre he perfected has shifted. He has been quietly written off more than once, yet he walks into rooms and warmth follows him. Behind the familiar smile, the one that made millions feel comforted, lies a life few truly understand. A childhood of distance, battles with addiction, heartbreak, and triumph that arrived only after decades of persistence. Childhood in Missouri. Born on December 13, 1925, in West Plains, Missouri, he grew up in a small town with little to offer a dreaming child. His father was a traveling salesman, charming, restless, rarely home, and his mother maintained the household with quiet, unacknowledged strength. Alongside his younger brother, he experienced a home that was functional but emotionally sparse. There was no cruelty, just distance. Praise was minimal. Affection was rare. In such an environment, the boy learned early that visibility was earned. What he lacked in warmth at home, he found in imagination and determination, cultivating an instinct that would guide him to the stage. Discovering performance. From a young age, he discovered that making people laugh changed the room. A face, a stumble, a mimicry suddenly bridged the emotional distance that otherwise defined his home. He performed not for applause, but to be seen. He idolized the great physical comedians, studying their timing, gestures, and the subtle silences between laughs. By 11, he approached comedy as a craftsman approaches architecture, every movement deliberate, every pause essential. Performance became his sanctuary, his proof of existence. The stage promised recognition where home did not, a certainty that would sustain him through years of rejection and struggle, military service, and discovery. At 18, he was drafted into the United States Army Air Forces in 1944. Hoping to become a pilot, he was grounded by his physical measurements and assigned as a radio operator and entertainer for troops stateside. While he did not experience frontline heroics, he discovered that laughter was vital. Bringing joy to men in fear and uncertainty was not trivial. It was life-giving. Performance, he realized, was essential, not optional. These lessons were not learned in a classroom, but in practice, as he cultivated the skills, discipline, and empathy that would later define his career. Early struggles in entertainment. Returning home in 1946 with no money, connections, or formal training, he carried only certainty. He belonged on stage. Yet the entertainment industry was unforgiving. Radio announcing in Atlanta ended quickly. He formed a comedy duo, performing at small clubs and military bases, often to indifferent audiences. Opportunities were scarce, pay was meager, and rejection frequent. Cities changed, but rejection persisted. Nights of doubt were inevitable, yet his resolve never wavered. Each failure, each not yet, became part of the apprenticeship that forged his skill, patience, and understanding that persistence could eventually carve a path where none seemed possible. Breaking through. Years of small, unnoticed performances honed his craft until opportunity arrived. Television would eventually recognize the precision, warmth, and physical comedy that he brought to every performance. But even as audiences embraced him, he faced challenges offstage. Addiction threatened to undo all he had built. A long marriage collapsed under strain. Personal loss shadowed professional success. And yet, he survived. Rebuilding was slow and imperfect, requiring courage and resilience. By his late 80s, he discovered love again, completing a circle he had long believed was impossible. His life was a testament to endurance, not inevitability. Crafting joy. His genius lay in making joy effortless, though it was anything but. Comedy was architecture. Timing, physicality, verbal precision, and warmth had to align. Contemporary culture moved toward irony, ambiguity, and darkness, leaving his style in contrast to prevailing tastes. Yet his performances endured because they contained authenticity. The joy he created was not calculated, it was fully him. Technical perfection alone could not achieve this. Audiences didn't just admire him, they recognized something truthful about human experience in his work, a rare gift that bridged talent, personality, and vulnerability. Legacy of television and film immortalized him, but not simply as a performer. His work became a masterclass for future generations of comedians, writers, and directors. From the first small-stage performances to starring in films with animated characters, he demonstrated the coexistence of technical skill and human warmth. The charm, authenticity, and generosity in his work created enduring connections across generations. Parents introduced their children to the characters and films that shaped their own childhoods, extending his influence far beyond the original audience. His legacy is as much cultural as it is personal, a chain of joy transmitted across decades. Life behind the smile. Behind the widely recognized smile was a life of complexity. Childhood emotional distance shaped a longing that performance temporarily satisfied. Addiction and personal loss marked periods of darkness. A marriage failed, yet resilience prevailed. Achieving success brought challenges as intense as the failures before it. Every step of the journey demanded reinvention, perseverance, and self-awareness. Despite trials, he cultivated a life of meaning, learning that joy was not a reward for endurance, but a practice to be maintained daily. The man audiences loved was inseparable from the man who endured, struggled, and rebuilt quietly. Observations on aging and joy. Now, at 99 beside the ocean, he reflects on a life fully lived. He continues dancing, moving, and radiating warmth. Joy is not a gift granted by fortune or audience approval. It is cultivated, often amidst personal struggle. The act of giving happiness to others while maintaining one's own balance is a lifelong practice. Through decades of challenges and triumphs, he exemplifies that commitment. His story reminds us that life is cumulative. Failures, losses, victories, and moments of courage all coalesce into a narrative that defines a person more authentically than any single achievement ever could. Conclusion: a life fully lived. He has outlived most of the people, trends, and judgments of his time. What remains is not a sanitized highlight reel, but a life of depth, complexity, and authenticity. The performances endure not because they were perfect, but because they were fully human, fully lived. Joy, craft, and resilience intertwined in every gesture. At 99, he stands as a testament to the power of persistence, reinvention, and generosity. The truth of his life offers an insight. Art is not just entertainment, it is the transmission of humanity, the celebration of resilience, and the insistence that life, in all its imperfection, is worth performing fully.